If you watched my tutorial from yesterday, you probably are one step closer to decide on the topic for your blog. So today we're going to take a look at how do I come up with a name for my blog. The first thing is to come up with a name that tell your audience what your blog is about. But don't be too specific, because if you later on want to change direction a little bit, that name can limit you. Let's for example say for this tutorial that I have decided to make a podcast about Halloween, specifically about Halloween makeup. I could decide to call my podcast Halloween Makeup Made Easy. But what if I later on want to include blog posts about costumes or maybe even Halloween traditions? Then that name wouldn't fit anymore. So maybe a better name would be to call it Halloween Hocus Pocus or something like that. Next step is to think about who your audience are. Let's stick with the Halloween theme and compare these two blog names. Affordable Halloween, and the second one is Halloween Extravaganza. The first one, Affordable Halloween, is directed to people that are budget conscious, while the second one, Halloween Extravaganza, is more for people that have a no matter what the cost is, Halloween enthusiasts. Step 3 is to think about how your name would look if you decide to get a domain name. There are some terrible examples out there on the web, and let me show you two. The first one is Who Represents, and take a look at this. The second one is Penn Island. So make sure that your idea can be read as an URL the way it was meant to be. But you also need to think about if it's easy to say and to spell. One example is Flickr, F-L-I-C-K-R. When most people hear that name and search for it, they're gonna write FLICKER.com. And this made Flickr have to buy even that domain name and have all traffic to that domain redirected to their regular website. So how do you come up with a name? I looked at bloggingwizard.com and they had some excellent examples. The first one is to use a blogging formula. Your topic or your specific audience as the first part, plus the end goal or the transformation as the second part. A couple of examples that came from bloggingwizard.com is funnel overload, where funnel shows that it's directed to people that work in marketing funnels, and overload refers to the creation or the outcome. Another example is Startup Bonsai. Startup shows that it's directed to startup companies, and bonsai refers to sustainable growth. Or you can switch it around. The first part is the outcome and the second part is the intended audience. For example, expert photography. You can also create a portmanteau. I hope I pronounced that correctly. A portmanteau is a word that is created by blending the sounds of two already established words. For example, brunch comes from breakfast and lunch. If you, for example, are creating a Halloween blog about Halloween costumes, a portmanteau could be Hallowwear. Out on the web, there are also several blog name generators that you can use. A couple of those that I like is domainwheel.com and nameboy.com. Another effective tool is to use a Thesaurus, where you can get a lot of synonyms for the original word you were thinking about, and that way find new ideas. Or try to use alliteration, a repetition of the consonant in the beginning of the words. For example, as I did in Halloween Hocus Pocus or beginner blogger. Abbreviation is something you can think about as well, especially down the road when you have start growing a little bit. So to continue on the Halloween theme, let's say that I want my blog to have the abbreviation HAT. H-A-T. I could call it Halloween all the time, spelled like this. Of course, you can always use your own name or your nickname. But if you are not a public person, it won't be that easy to get found that way. On the other hand, if you really want to brand your name, it can be worth the struggle in the beginning to use your name. It is worth both the time and the effort to find the right blog name in the beginning of your blogging career. Why not try all the methods I have mentioned in today's video and then use friends and family and ask if they can figure out what the blog would be about and which one they like the best. When you have narrowed down your list, there is a couple of things I think you should do before you move on. That is to figure out if the domain name you want is available. I think it's important to look if you can use that username on social media as well. And to figure that out, my favorite website is namecheck.com, spelled NAMECH.com. There you can check both the domain and social media. Tomorrow I will talk about different types of blog posts you can write. Hej då!